This episode of JMC is sponsored by Mocha Motion Coffee. Get caffeinated with Mocha Motion Coffee, a mobile boutique beverage bar transforming Lancaster's caffeine scene. Indulge in their meticulously handcrafted espresso drinks, vibrant matcha, real fruit smoothies, and refreshing acai bowls. Catch Mocha Motion at their next stop or elevate your next corporate affair or even private party with their bomb coffee offerings. Now booking into 2024. Sip, savor, and celebrate with Mocha Motion Coffee, where every sip is a journey, journey, and every moment a memory. Learn more at mochamotioncoffee.com. That's mochamotioncoffee.com. Get you some coffee, man. Get me a coffee while you're at it. Yo, what's going on? My name is Felix C. Arroyo, and these are the Journeyman Chronicles, or as we call it, JMC. And you're here to watch episode 70. I got my man, Dr. Johnny Vega, on board. He stopped by last month to share his journey. I don't want to get too involved in this introduction because the episode and the interview, or really the conversation for itself, speaks volumes. But please, believe me when I tell you that a life of crime and selling drugs and getting caught up and serving some time, I'm not talking about 1 or 2 years, we're talking about almost a decade of your life being sentenced and coming out and being able to pull a 180 and flip the script, become a motivational speaker, an entrepreneur. This is the story of Dr. Johnny Vega. And we're going to get into as much as we can in the couple hours that I have with this episode with Dr. Johnny Vega. So I hope you are ready. I know while promoting this episode, so many different people from across the world commenting as he was sharing the promo. So as much as I know Johnny's mad excited, I'm excited because every opportunity I get to get people to listen to this podcast is a bonus for me. So for all of those that are just jumping on the JMC Express right now, that are new to the podcast, hello, welcome. I am the Journeyman. This is what I do. I'm putting Lancaster, Pennsylvania on the map. Back the fuck up. Yes, I like to let it rip with the curse words. Don't hold that against me. That's just how I breathe. Anyway, let's get right into it. You know the drill. This is Johnny's journey, and these are the Journeyman Chronicles. Let's go. I'm excited to have you on because when you hit me up,
right,
I had a feeling that you were probably getting hip to the podcast a little bit.
I followed you on TikTok.
Okay.
I seen some of the clips on TikTok, and I was like, wow, this show is dope.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm trying, and like to get you on was a goal of mine. I have like a mental notebook of like, these are people that I start watching from afar to see what's going on.
Right.
But the dope thing about you is that I've been watching you through socials for a while.
Right. Okay.
And we have like, obviously we're getting to know the similar people in our circles. This is our first time meeting though.
Right.
I want to start this conversation off with...
This isn't our first time meeting though.
Well, no, you're right. It isn't.
You were one of my kids at PFL.
Was that one of your kids though?
You were. Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 44.
Oh, 44.
Yeah.
So
I was in PFL, but I was in it. Like I was the third class.
I was the first class.
Yeah, you were the first class.
Right.
So when I was in it, your class was your last time there.
But we were counselors. We were like
were you a counselor though?
I was for a few summers, like.
But I thought that shit was like, forgive me, I curse.
So
okay
yeah, that's fine. I curse sometimes too. So like Keyshawn It was me, Keyshawn, Danielle Brown.
Danielle Brown, I remember.
Who else? Mikey Michaels.
But I thought just like Millersville students were.
I was a Millersville student.
Okay.
I got locked up when I was a sophomore in college.
No, it's all good. I just always remembered you as in the program as a student.
No, I was an English major at Millersville, full scholarship through the PACE program.
Got you.
Yep. And then my sophomore year, I decided to take a semester off to open up a club. And at the age of 19 going on 20, I owned a club called the Oz.
Okay.
And then I opened up another club called the Jelly Bean. And mind you, at the time, I was...
This is at 19 years old?
Selling a lot of drugs, too.
Okay.
A lot of drugs, bro.
How did this? Okay, let's start over. Okay, real quick, because there's a lot I want to unpack.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot.
Let's start with PFL.
Okay.
Because the reason why I want to bring that up is because I don't talk to many people that know of it.
Right.
Which is weird because there's mad people that went through the program.
Correct.
And every time I bring it up, I bring it out to my wife or friends, and I'm like, I explain the program. I'm like, yeah, they're like, that's dope, but I never heard of it. So. Right. Project Forward Leap, I spoke about this recently, how that's where I personally got hip to like hip hop culture. Right. Was when I was exposed. Growing up, I grew up in Lang, but I went to Buchanan, I went to Wheatland.
Right.
And so I'm interested in your perspective because having so many black and brown inner city youth,
right,
with some white kids too, but predominantly it was black and brown kids.
Yeah.
And it was the counselors, it was the youth, it was... Yep. I was like immersed in this culture.
Right.
I do remember you from there.
Right.
And I have a memory. I don't know if you remember this.
Okay.
But we would go play basketball at Macumsey Hall. Was it Macumsey Hall?
Macumsey Hall. Yeah.
And I remember watching y'all play.
I was pretty good.
But I remember you falling and hitting the floor.
Okay.
And like you cracked your head good.
Yep.
And you got up.
Yeah.
Pissed and you like punched or kicked
the door.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm not lying, for like 30 some years. That memory has always lived in my head.
Yeah. I remember there was a guy named Dwayne. We used to call him Wat, and he fouled me really hard.
Okay.
And instead of hitting him, I remember like it was yesterday. I hit the door and walked out of the gym. Yep. Hurt my hand. I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk
to me about your experience with PFL. How'd that come about you?
So PFL, like I said, we were the original class to start it.
Yeah.
I think it was probably like, I can't remember the exact number, but it's probably like 10 of us maybe. And, they interviewed us. We went through a whole process. And we got accepted into this program, PFL, Project Forward Leap. And I think in many ways it saved me from getting in trouble earlier.
Yeah.
Because, summertime, you're out in the streets, you're doing stuff. Every summer from 4th grade all the way up to I graduated from high school, I was involved with PFL and also Upper Bound. I don't know if you remember Upper Bound, but
Upper Bound, yeah.
So from PFL, I went to Upper Bound, but every summer I would go to Upper Bound for a month. And then for another month, I would work for PFL after we finished the program. But it was an amazing experience to take inner city kids and put them on a college campus for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And, just the field trips.
Yep.
And yeah, they paid us.
Yeah.
We got paid decent.
I forgot that.
They paid us,
They would give you money to spend. Yeah.
Bro, I would stash that money. I wouldn't even I would save that money. And then they gave us jobs after that, which was great. And they paid us well for that. I remember we got paid pretty good.
Okay, so I don't know about the job. So that was is that where the counseling for you came in?
Correct. Yep. After we graduated from the program,
okay,
they hired a few of us as counselors.
Okay.
So we watched over you guys.
Yeah.
Yep. And a great experience. Put us ahead of the class for the next school year.
Yep. That's what I tell everybody.
Because we were taking like difficult courses over the summer.
But we were like walking the campus, though,
right?
Which was, I think, I don't think I understood how dope of an experience it was when I was in it.
Right.
I went through a lot of homesickness.
Right.
It was my first time being away from home.
Right.
But looking back now, I was like, what a fucking wonderful experience.
It was.
I tell my wife, we walked the campus. We stayed on the dorms.
Ate in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Food was amazing.
Yeah.
We could eat as much as
3
we
times
wanted.
a day.
Swimming pool and
basketball.
And, Yeah, that definitely was an amazing. Big shout out to Dr. Allen.
Yes.
Who's still here, still around. He's a
that's
lawyer.
awesome. Okay.
So I'm really big on mentorship, and and looking. I'm just thinking about this now, but the people, the adults, even the teachers, Dr. Allen, Doris Cross, Mr. Redmond. These were the people that were in charge, and rest in peace, Doris Cross, who passed away a few years ago. She was very close mentor, friend of mine. She passed away, but yeah, overall, it was just an incredible experience. They took us off the streets, bro, and put us on a college campus and prepared us for life, and the bonds and the friendships.
Yeah.
I'm still friends with a lot of people that.
That's what's up.
Yeah, and we started in 4th grade, so.
Yeah, but I started mine after my 6th grade.
Okay.
Which is, that's how I remember it, is the summer going into the 7th year is when I went.
Right.
So summer before 7th and then 8th and then 9th.
Right.
It may have been earlier than that, but that's just how I'm remembering it.
Yeah, I think I went in going into 5th grade.
Okay.
And that was 5th, 6th, 7th.
Yeah.
And then 8th grade, I went into Upper Bound.
Okay, so when you started, you were part of the first class. Like,
Correct.
when I went, I saw all 3 grades patrolling the campus.
Right.
But when you went, it was just your grade.
We were the guinea pigs.
Okay, so you saw the transition.
Right.
Of you saw it growing.
Right. And then even after I became an adult and was no longer involved, did they spread out to like Villanova?
See, that I don't remember. That was after me.
Yeah,
then.
there was Millersville, and then I believe it was Villanova had another class in Villanova. I don't know why it ended, though. That's sad.
And I know that was maybe somewhat like 8-10 years ago.
I think the funding wasn't there anymore.
But the fact that it went on that long.
Just imagine the money they spent on us. At one point, I think we had probably a couple hundred kids.
Yeah, easy. And that, just, as an adult now, look how I look at my kids, and the first thing I think of my wife especially is like, what are we going to do to keep them busy?
Right. There's nothing.
Yeah, it's like there's always something. But yeah, I remember the good times and just meeting different people.
Right.
There's so many times that I have like a memory that hits me differently as I get older.
Right.
So like I said, it was dope to hear somebody be like, I remember you from PFL, because I know maybe one other person, which is Reverend Shayna Watson, that I went there with. We were in the same grade.
Shayna. Yeah.
So I appreciate you bringing that up, man. I had to start there.
Do you remember my sister, Nina?
I know of your sister. I think we met. Is her husband, which sister are we talking about?
So it's Veronica and Nina.
I know Veronica. Okay,
Veronica's with Angel.
Yeah.
Nina was in Project Forward Leap also.
I might remember if I see
you're
her.
older than her. She's 37 or 38.
Okay, yeah. So the was,
but she was in the program too. Yeah.
But that's cool. That's cool. So is it just you and your sister then that were in the program?
Yes.
Did all of your siblings get a shot to the beginning? Because they interviewed you.
Yes, they interviewed us, and Veronica, she's in the middle. She didn't go to PFL.
Okay.
Yeah, she didn't go that route.
Yeah, I love the when family would come visit.
Family day.
Yeah, and the field trips. You brought that up, and I forgot they paid us. They would give you money. I remember. Yeah. I remember. We had to get our rooms clean.
Correct.
And that who was the dude with the beard? The fellow with the beard.
Mario.
He would walk it was a white guy. Oh. He walked the halls to check the rooms. I forget. But he was a somewhat of importance or leadership in some sort of way there. Yeah, it was a white dude, had a beard.
Yeah, I would have to see him.
And I remember him going into, he's like, you were in boot camp in a way. Right. And they would check the sheets. Room to check, get the cobwebs under the bed.
Make sure your rooms were clean.
Yeah. But that was structure that the youth needed at that time.
We had to do our own laundry.
Yo, yeah.
We had to do our own laundry. And hood kids, we figured out we figured out a way where you could push the thing, to put your coins in, and you push it in real slow, and you hear a little click,
and then you get your coins back,
and then you pull it back, and the machine started, and I would save my quarters.
Something like that is familiar to me, bro.
You can't. You could. You could take us out the hood, but you can't take the hood out.
Right,
of us.
right.
You know what I mean?
I got this one memory from PFL real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Scranton. No, is this Scranton Hall? No, Scranton Hall. What's the hall that
So it
was
was
right across from the
Gage.
dining room?
It was Gage. It was Harbaugh.
Harbold.
Right.
Okay, I was in Harbold.
Right.
In the rec area downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This story always trips me out because at that time I didn't realize how unique it was.
Right.
But at some point in the day, they let you do whatever you want.
Right. A lot of freedom.
A lot of freedom. And so I was down there by myself in that rec room playing piano. There's a piano down there.
Right.
And I'm playing the piano. I'm by myself. And the room, your back is towards the door.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're facing the wall. And I'm playing. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just messing around. But I play these notes, and all of a sudden, all these people start clapping. I turn around, and no one's there. Yo, I'm like, literally.
Right.
It was like a clap where it scared me. And in my mind, I immediately was like, oh, y'all were watching me.
I think some of them places were haunted.
Bro, as I get older, I'm like, no, I heard clapping.
Right.
Like many people like trying to bust my chops. Like, look at you.
Right.
And I turned around and nobody was there.
And now that I think about it, some weird stuff used to go on in those. I can't remember like specific incidences, but now that you say that, I remember us as kids saying that the place was haunted.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I never had experiences, but except for that one.
Yeah. There was some stuff going on, but.
Yeah, man. PFL, the good old days. If anybody's watching this and was down with PFL,
give us a shout out.
Yeah, man. Comment on that when I start sharing this episode.
PFL alumni, where you at?
Wow, yeah, that was for me. I guess it was like 90, 91, around there.
Yeah, I was like 85, 86 or something like that.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
So let's use this now as our segue then, because you started to talk about sophomore year in college.
Correct.
You took the summer to open up not one but two clubs, or
eventually it was two clubs. Yep. So just to back up a little bit, I moved to Lancaster in 1984.
Okay. Where are you from?
I'm originally from New York.
Okay.
The Bronx. My mom and stepdad, my sister and I decided to move from New York, the Bronx, to Lancaster because my grandfather, Lili Pagan, Francisco Pagan, opened up the first Spanish restaurant in Lancaster.
Okay.
Yes, called El Deportivo.
Okay.
The restaurant was on East End Avenue, right across from Garden Court.
Gotcha. Can you pull that a little closer to you, bro?
It's a little laundromat now. So my mom wanted a better life for us. New York was rough. And we decided to move to PA, to Lancaster, and I was 6 years old. So I was first grade when I moved to Lancaster. So growing up, good kid.
Yeah.
Very social, very active, loved being outside. Started playing basketball when I was like 10 or 11. Used to live on Orange Street right across from Reservoir Park.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Fell in love with basketball. So was always very athletic, did good in school. And then around the age of 13 or 14, probably like closer to 14, started experimenting with weed.
Okay.
Started smoking. And just like any drug, it became an addiction.
Sure.
And to support that addiction, I started hustling.
Got you.
I don't have any, my brothers are from my dad's side, so I don't really know my brothers, but my mom has 7 brothers, my uncles. And all of them in some way, shape, or form were in the streets, either as addicts, drug dealers. I had an uncle that was a pimp. And these were my role models.
Yeah.
So I was always attracted to the street life. And like I said, about 14, bought my first half ounce, bagged it up, hit the block, and fell in love with making money.
Yeah.
Early. And I've always been the type to give 120% in everything I do.
Sure, yeah.
So I really led a double life, still doing good in school, played ball for McCaskey, got that full scholarship to Millersville. But financially, I was selling drugs. So by the time I was 19, they used to call me the one-stop shop, bro. It went from weed to pills.
Okay, got you.
Coke, heroin. Even at one point, I was selling guns.
Okay.
Yeah, I was heavy. I thought I was Scarface or something because it was crazy. But never thought I would get caught. You know, my family was always telling me, "Hey, John, you got to chill."
Okay, so your family was aware of what you were doing.
Right, very aware. They, you know, see the money, the cars. I'm a kid.
Yeah.
And but I thank God I got a family that never judged me or loved me unconditionally. Like my mom's a G. Like even when I got caught up, I'll tell you that story too. But so I opened up the clubs. It was January 4th I got locked up. So probably the summer before that, I'm sitting in the club about 3:00 in the morning. I decided to stop selling the hard stuff of heroin, coke, the guns, because a lot of my friends were getting locked up, and they had come out with a law called weed and seed.
Okay.
Where if you got caught with a gun, and no matter what amount of drugs, you can get caught with an ounce or, a 8-ball or something and get mandatory 15 years. So a couple of my boys got hit with that. And I was like, man, if I get caught, I'm gonna go down. So I started selling a drug that just hit the scene, and that drug was ecstasy.
Okay.
So now the kids call it Molly, but so I started getting ecstasy. I never forget
Is that
it.
the same shit?
It's supposed to be the same stuff.
That's how ignorant I am to that shit.
Right.
Like, I know of Molly.
So
and X.
ecstasy was actually legal at one point. It's MDMA. That's the scientific name for ecstasy. They actually used to prescribe it to couples that were having trouble being intimate.
Wow.
So then they made it illegal. I never forget the first time I bought it. I went to New York with my boy. We were supposed to buy a pound of weed. I went to my connect. He said, "Hey, try this out." He gave me 50 pills. We went back home. At that time, this was before the club. We were throwing parties, and we threw a house party. Bro, we stood up for 3 days straight, partying. We would go home, shower, come back, party, go home, shower, come back, party. And I sold the pills for $20 a pill, and I was getting them for like $2, $3.
Wow.
So I was like, whoo,
Sure.
cha-ching. And so I started off with 50, went back, got 100, flipped that, went back, got 200. Before you know it, I'm buying 2,000 pills a week. But now I have the club, 2 clubs at that. But the after hours club, I would make, 10 grand a week, 15 grand a week profit at the age of 19, 20. So I think I'm on top of the world. I'm making all this money. I got these business. I wasn't even old enough to drink yet, bro.
Yeah.
So one night I'm sitting in the club in VIP. I'll never forget it. Seat just like this. Girl to the left of me, girl to the right of me. Bottle of Moet. I'm just looking around like I'm the man.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden somebody kicked in the doors. Boom. Kicking the doors. Guys breaking the windows. They're coming in through the windows. And I'm sitting there watching it. Now, mind you, I'm lit. Like lit.
Gotcha.
All ecstasied up, drunk, high. It was like a movie. The club was long and narrow. They're coming towards me. All I hear is, "Where's Johnny Vega? Where's Johnny Vega?" So my security picks me up, bro. They came in through the front door, took me through the back door, threw me in the back of a car, and took off.
But you saw them coming in.
Saw them coming in.
Wow.
They didn't bother to hit the back door.
Gotcha.
So I go through the back door with my guys. We drive off. Now I'm on the run. My whole life changed in an instant.
Like that.
Yep. So I'm thinking it's local police. Next day, federal agents go to my apartment, go to my grandmother's house, my mom's house, even a stash house that I had. "Where's Johnny Vega?" Gave my mom their card. Tell him to call us. He needs to turn himself in. So I have no idea what's going on. My mom calls me. She's crying. "Baby, you got to turn yourself in. It's better if you turn yourself in." And I'm like, "Mom, they're going to have to come get me. I'm not turning myself in. I don't know what's going on." So a couple months go by. I'm on the run. I still have to provide for myself financially, so I'm still selling drugs. I end up, funny, my mom's like, "All right, this is the plan." This is my mom, the G. This is before she got saved. She says it's BC, before Christ. So she goes, "Baby, I got a plan. We're gonna take you down to Florida. From Florida, we're gonna take you to Dominican Republic. We're gonna change your fingerprints and give you a whole new identity." I'm like, oh man. So
did you entertain that?
I did, but instead of going to Florida, guess where I go?
Where you go?
York, Pennsylvania, right over the bridge.
Why York?
I don't know. It's close to home. I started getting money in York, so now I'm driving back and forth from York to Lancaster, still getting money in Lancaster. Got an apartment in York. So one day I go to Lancaster to pick up, I'll never forget it, 5 pounds of weed. My boy's supposed to drop it off. I'm on the run. You're very familiar with Lancaster, right? So I'm at the end of Prince Street.
Yeah.
So I'm at the end of Prince Street waiting in this girl's house, and at the time they had yellow shirts. I don't know if you remember the yellow shirts.
Yeah, I remember the
Task
yellow
Force.
shirts. Yeah.
So she goes, I'm sitting there waiting for the weed to come. Little did I know that the guy that I was buying the weed from was setting me up. So she looks out the window and she's like, bro, cops are sitting in front of the house. So I look out the blind and I see 4 big white guys in a car and they all have yellow shirts on. And I'm like, oh, my.
You already know at that point.
Right. So I see them. Another car pulls up. Another car pulls up. I'm like, it's about to go down. They're about to rush this house and get me. So I'm like, I call the dude that I'm supposed to buy the weed from. I'm like, bro, something's going on. I'm out. He's like, no, wait. I'll be right there in a couple minutes.
So, okay.
So I'm like, hang up the phone, and I go through the back door and through her yard. So I'm on foot. As I'm walking through the backyard, bro, I see this little head pop up from behind a wall and then pop back down. So I'm nervous as heck. So you're familiar with Lancaster. So I cut through her backyard. I end up on Beaver Street.
Okay.
So I'm walking up Beaver Street. You know how narrow Beaver Street is.
Yeah.
So I'm walking up Beaver Street, and I see one person walking towards me. So now I have to make a decision. Do I run?
Yeah.
I've been on the run for a while now. Do I just get this over with? So I cross the street. Now, mind you, it's a little street. I cross the street. He crosses the street. I cross back.
Okay.
He crosses back. So,
Right.
But we're walking towards each other.
Yeah.
So he gets up on me, and it's a cop dressed in black. He puts his hand on my chest, and he says, what's your name? So I'm just looking at him, thinking in the back of my mind, it's a wrap. I'm about to go to jail. I don't even know what for. He goes, what's your name? And I go, I apologize, bro, but I say, my name's Marcus Tirado.
Marcus Tirado.
I grew up with the twins, Mike and Mark.
I know the twins.
Best friends
I know of them
forever.
anyway, yeah.
We're still best friends to this day. We laugh about this all the time. But I said Marcus Tirado, and at that time we're so close that they lived on Old Dorrit Street.
Okay.
So he's like, I give him the name. What's your address? I can't remember the exact address now, but Old Dorrit. He calls it in. Yeah, that's not the guy we're looking for. So he's like, hold on. So I'm like trying to remain calm.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, shh, I'm about to go to jail.
Yeah.
So another car pulls up. This time it's a white guy in plain clothes. He gets out the car. He's like, is this the guy we're looking for? And he's like, I don't know. He gave me his name. It came back good. And he says his name's Marcus Tirado. So the cop's like, well, we'll just take him back to the precinct and run his fingerprints. All right, so it's over. So you know how cops do. Sit me down on the curb.
Yeah.
They're waiting for the regular cop car to pull up, and I pull the race card on them. I said, man, this is bullshit. I'm gonna call my lawyer. I already gave you my name. You're just stopping me. Racial profile. I forget exactly what I said, but I gave it a shot.
Yeah.
And
right.
so I'm sitting there, and he goes, well, the guy that we're looking for has a tattoos on his arms. So I'm like, oh. I had a button-down Nautica shirt and a Nautica hat matching. And at that time, I can't show you now, but at that time I had one tattoo, and it was a Grim Reaper. Don't ask me where I got it, but it was a Grim Reaper wrapped with a Puerto Rican flag around it.
Okay.
So I had a long sleeve shirt on. He says, roll up your sleeves and show me your tattoos. So I roll up my sleeves up to my elbows, and I flashed my arms, and I said, I don't have any tattoos, and rolled my sleeves back down.
And they didn't.
So I'm sitting there.
Sheesh.
Sitting there, and then I don't know why he did it to this day, but I even seen this cop in the gym after I came home and apologized to him for lying. I don't know why I did it, but I just had to make amends with this dude. And he said, get up and beat it. So just like that, everything got awkward and quiet. I didn't ask no questions. I stood up, started walking. As soon as they were out of my sights, Mind you, I'm 20 years old and fast as lightning.
Yeah. Booked it. Yeah.
I run up Beaver, cut up to Queen. I see my boy on his porch smoking a cigarette. I said, bro, can I come in your house? He said, go ahead. Went in his house. He comes in after me after he's smoking a cigarette and asked me if I shot somebody. I said, what are you talking about? He said, they got all of Prince Street closed down with all these cops with your picture.
Wow.
So then I called my cousin who was out.
They got your picture, but
They let me go, I guess, right before my.
So at this point, they realized they screwed up.
It was almost like it just hit me. You ever see the movie with the guy where he's being interviewed and he's getting the story from the cops and
Usual Suspect.
So remember after he left, the picture came up and he was like,
"Oh man,
I just let him go." So very similar to that situation. I guess my picture came up probably minutes after I booked it. So now I'm still on the run. They let me. So 6 months go by. January 4th, 2000. I'm in York. Still on the run. I have an apartment out there. It's a Friday. At that time, I had hair, and I was feeling good, making money. I was really killing it in York. So
how much were you making? Do you mind?
Probably like 15, 20 grand a week. Yeah.
That's a lot of dough, bro.
Yeah. When they caught me, finally caught me, I had $82,000 in my apartment and $7,000 in my pocket. My goal for that year was to stash $100,000, put it to the side, and then disappear. So I almost reached my goal.
Yeah.
But, I got caught. So January 4th, Friday, I come out of this guy comes to my apartment, has no idea who I really am. I had given him some pills on credit. He paid me the money and asked for more pills. He left. He set me up. So I leave the apartment, get in the car. We're driving. I have two guys driving, one guy in the front. I'm in the back, and we're driving. All of a sudden, we see this green van behind us, and it's following us close. So I tell him to make a left, the van makes a left. Tell him to make a right, the van makes a right. We're going up alleyways, van still behind us. We get to a stop sign, the van pulls up, cuts us off. All these guys jump out of the van, guns drawn. Scream and get out the car, stop the car. The guy throws it in reverse, and spins it around and takes off.
Get out.
Bro. They couldn't keep up on foot. Jump back in the van, start chasing us.
What were you thinking at that point? Were you like, what are you doing?
No, I was like, drive.
Got you.
Go.
So you were still like, even though, like, were you always looking for like that angle? Or was there ever a time in those moments that you explained where you mentioned a couple times you're like, this is it,
right?
But were you willing to be like, this is it, or were you gonna?
Not really.
Yeah, you were gonna find that angle.
I was planning on being on the run forever.
Yeah,
and I mean that's crazy to say, but yeah, I was.
But I guess in that state, in that mindset at that time is fight or flight, survival.
Right.
Even though it's wrong or right, whatever.
Nobody wants to go to jail.
Nobody wants to get locked up.
Right. So. And I ain't kill nobody. I ain't hurt nobody. So chasing us, we got to a point where I didn't see the van anymore. So my plan was pull over. I'm gonna get out the car and keep going. They're gonna chase you. I'm gonna get away on foot.
Yeah.
He pulls over. I go to get out the car. Guess what happens, bro?
You stumble upon
child safety lock.
No, in the door.
Safety lock. So I'm fumbling with the lock.
You're trying to open that door.
Put down the window so I can put my arm out the window, open the door, look back. Guess who's behind us again?
The van.
The van. So I had about, I always carried all my drugs on me. It was pills, so I can carry a lot.
Yeah.
So I had like 1,700 pills in my pocket. And then, like I said, I think it was like $6,000 or $7,000 in my other pocket. So I threw the pills and not the money. I had a 22 Ruger that I always had on me. It was a little gun I used to carry it in my sock.
Yeah.
Go into clubs, put it in my boot.
Yeah.
Always stood with it. A little 6-shot, and I threw the gun and the pills in the trash, and got back in the car. Still kept the money on me. We take off. I don't know if you're familiar with York, but we got to Queen Street, which is just like Queen Street in Lancaster, heavy drug block, middle of the hood. About 10 cop cars converged on us. It was over.
That was it.
They told me to put my hands out the window. Told me to get out the car. One of the cops came right up to my ear and said, "Mr. Vega, your life's never going to be the same after this." And he was jamming the gun into the back of my head, like hitting me. And he kept on saying, "Oh, you want to run, huh? You want to run?" And he cut me. I still have the scar right here. So now it's like a scene out of a movie. They cuffed me up. I got blood all over my face, blood all over my sweater, put me in the back of the car, took me down to the precinct. They're giving each other high fives.
Sure, yeah.
We got them. And then I was in York County Prison for 11 months with no charges. My lawyer hit me up. He said, "Look, if they don't charge you within 12 months, they have to let you go."
Why is that? So why are they holding you that long with no charges?
Because I wouldn't cooperate. So they had up to a year to charge me. So
you were just mum's the word, so to speak. You were talking.
Right. So my connects, the people I was getting the drugs from, were all family, uncles, family.
Yeah.
So telling on them wasn't really an option for me.
Yeah.
One, they're stone cold killers. You know what I mean? So if I would have told, now I got to worry about myself, my family, my mom. They know where everybody lives at, and that just wasn't an option. Even when I told my lawyer I won't cooperate, he called me a tough guy. All right, tough guy.
Yeah.
And it's not about being tough,
It was a code. It's
right.
Yeah.
This is the choices I made. I got to deal with the consequences. So 11 months go by. I think I'm going home. I get a letter in the mail. "Vega, you got mail." All right, I got mail all the time. Family, friends. All right, cool, got mail. So I look at it. It's from Harrisburg. And when I open it up, it said United States government versus Johnny Vega.
How'd that feel when you saw that?
I just was like, oh, it's getting real now.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going home, So I called my lawyer. He said, "I got the same letter. They sent us both a copy." He said, "I'm on my way up now. You're going to get a lawyer visit so we can go over everything." All right, cool. So he gets there. They call me, lawyer visit. I go to see him. He's still a really good friend of mine to this day.
The lawyer.
The lawyer, yep. Espinosa. I don't know if you know Espinosa, but
no.
Spanish lawyer, yep.
But you mentioned that a couple times real quick, is the whole that you keep in touch, or that you still know of. You mentioned the cop that you apologized to. So
I seen him at LA Fitness working out.
This was after when?
After I got home.
How long was that for?
So I got locked up in 2000. I came home late 2008, almost 2009. So I saw him probably like somewhere around that time, like 2009.
Okay. And did he remember you?
Nope, not at all.
And I would think that I can understand that, because I'm sure that he's seeing so many people that he's locking up.
Right.
But the fact that you still took it upon yourself, I'm assuming that was more of a conscious thing.
It was.
You needed to set some things straight.
Right.
How did he receive that?
He kind of laughed about it. He just laughed about it. He said, "I do remember you." And he said, "Stay out of trouble." He said, "Stay out of trouble." I had just spent almost a decade in prison. And he said, "Look, next time they're not going to play games with you." And even the judge, when I got sentenced, she said, "If I ever see you again, we're going to start off at 15 years and work our way up." So he said, "Stay out of trouble. That's my best advice to you." And he said he appreciated the apology.
Yeah, because that's a big thing to do, dog. Because a lot of people, and I don't speak of experience, I'm just assuming that when they come home, there still may be some resentment, some anger, there's that tough guy bravado is still prevalent.
Right. So
you are on the flip side, where was that right away from when you came home? You were like, "I need to fix some things."
Definitely, there was. I needed closure on a lot of stuff. Not only closure, but I hurt a lot of people. Just selling drugs. I've always had this leadership quality about myself, and I took advantage of that. And I had young people selling drugs for me. I mean, I would sell dope to my uncle. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have a conscience. And when they sat me down, that's when it kicked in. Like, bro, like, you're selling poison to your people. You're making money illegally. Like, you have no one to blame for this but yourself. And I came to that conclusion and had an epiphany that I had to change the way I thought, the way I acted, and just be myself. Because and we talk about culture and music, And I was a Jay-Z, I'm a hustler baby.
Yeah.
Product. So
Yeah.
I took that stuff to heart. Like even I can remember his lyrics. Little mama taking ecstasy, can't keep her pretty hands off me. Like that was
Real.
to me. Like and it's crazy because you see the progress that Jay has made from. Because
Yeah.
he started off with
You
drug
can
money.
relate to
I can relate to that, not on the level that he's at.
No, yeah, but I
But-
mean the fact that there's this
Growth,
from where you probably weren't expected to grow from.
right?
Um,
Right.
and one of the things while you were telling your story, not your story,
Mhm.
your journey here
Mhm.
is I was thinking to myself that you mentioned a couple of times you mentioned something along the lines of like a movie,
Mm-hmm.
that there's some things that presented itself like you would see in a movie.
Right.
When I asked you how much money you were making and you
Mhm.
said $15K,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about back in 2000.
Right.
So did it register with you? Like I know that you said you knew you were making money, but you were making money.
Right. Right.
Where people don't make that much money in 6 months.
Correct.
And you were making it in a week.
Right.
So
Right.
like did you understand the magnitude of like the money you were making and what are you going to do with it?
Right. Not at all. I mean, my plan right before I got caught, I had things set up where I got it off. I'll be honest with you. I got it off the movie Blow.
Okay. Johnny Depp.
The Johnny Depp, George, Boston George. I said, I'm going to start setting up shop in different states. I had people in Indiana, had people in Chicago.
Oh, you did.
That was the plan.
That was the plan.
Remember,
Okay.
now, mind you, I got caught January 4th. So I was just 4 days into the year, and that was my plan for that year. I'm on the run. I'm going to just travel all over the place, set up shop in these different places, and just...
What's the game plan when you're on the run and you have a mindset like
Right.
are you ever like confronting yourself like this is bullshit, I'm on the run?
Right. I tried not to think about it too much.
Yeah.
My plan was to disappear at some point. Canada, London, something.
Yeah.
I was gonna.
Because you're limited to how you live your life.
Right. I wanted to start all over in another country.
Yeah. You were willing to do that?
Yeah. If I wanted to save enough money where my family could come visit me anytime they wanted and just start over somewhere else. It was a fantasy, but yeah, that was the plan. Save up enough money where I could bounce.
So all this started when we started this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about 19.
Mm-hmm.
You get locked up. How old are you?
20.
Okay, so this is within a year.
Yes, all within a year.
Okay.
Yep.
What I mean is the beginning of this is what I'm going to do to make money to the point where you got caught.
Right.
Was within a year.
Within a year. Yep.
So, and I'm naive to this, but is that what was your, not that I'm glorifying it,
Right.
but what was your status? How were you recognized? Were you respected? I mean,
Very respected.
what you were doing, was that heard of that fast here in Lank?
No, because I was one of the first ones. I've always been like the first or one of the first. So I was one of the first guys in Lancaster to sell ecstasy at that level. Because most people, buy a couple pills here and there, pay $20-$25 for a pill, and they party.
Yeah.
I was getting them for $2 a pill, and I would, like, let's say, for instance, you come up to Pearl, I want to make some bread. All right, buy 100 pills off me, I'll charge you $10 a pill. So I started wholesaling pills as well to anybody that wanted to sell them. I'm making $2 if you buy, I'm making $700 every time you cop off me.
Yeah.
And that's just off of weight. And then I'm selling pills also for $20-$25. So I was making money both ways. And I changed the game when it came to ecstasy in Lancaster. Then I spread out to York, Reading, Harrisburg. So I was selling a lot of pills and weed. I was the pill and weed guy. Yeah.
You said you were the one-stop shop.
One-stop shop.
Was that legit?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what you were referred to as?
Yeah,
people knew that they could
get
that
anything from me. Anything.
And in that life, is that something that's like, let's kill two birds with one stone? This is how we can make even more money. You can get everything from this one spot.
Right.
You've got the same customers.
Right.
You got the same clientele, so to speak.
Right.
Is that the game plan for people that are trying to make money in that life?
Yeah. I mean, it's business.
Yeah.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
Whatever the product was, if I can get a hold of it at a cheap price, I was flipping it.
Was there anything that you were like, nah, I'm not selling that shit?
Well, I stopped selling heroin and coke. And,
Okay.
At one point, I was selling crack, and I stopped all that.
Yeah.
Not to glorify ecstasy.
No, absolutely.
But people were happy and laughing and partying and having fun. And you know, it was a party drug. It wasn't, you know, I mean, you can get addicted to ecstasy and it's horrible for your health, puts pinholes. I had to stop taking ecstasy because I had so much. And when I seen a commercial or something about it putting pinholes in your brain, I was like,
wow,
I got to stop. Like, if I would take an ecstasy pill, it was because it was a special occasion, or like, I could tell you some stories about. I went to Ocean City once for senior week. Again, 1,500 pills.
Yeah.
It was me and 2 white girls. We went up to Ocean City for senior week, and I was just walking the boardwalk. We had our own room, and you know how they have parties in the hotels and stuff.
Yeah.
I would send the girls into the parties, find out who needs pills, come back, I give you the pills, and you know.
So I
left the beach.
Yeah,
probably with like over 20 grand in my pocket.
But you're going to senior week with the mentality that this is an opportunity
to make money.
Yeah,
right.
Not so much enjoy senior week. Senior week was not the same for Johnny Vega.
Nah, not at all.
Wow.
So, funny story though. 2 guys came with us. We're ready to go, and the one guy was so drunk that I told him to go to the car and wait for us. So we're packing up. 2 white girls, a couple of my boys. He goes down to the car, sits in the car, and falls asleep. All right, cool. We're done packing. We're ready to leave. He's in the car. The car is locked. Knock on the window. Knocked out cold.
No.
Slumped over.
Yeah.
We're shaking the car. He's like this.
Oh, man.
Won't wake up. Look up the boardwalk. Guess who I see riding on his bike? Cop. So I immediately kind of step back into the crowd.
Yeah.
He comes up. Hey, what's up? Our friend is now this. I'm watching from a distance. I'm watching this cop go up to my boys and see what's wrong with my other homie that was in the car.
Okay.
So I'm watching now. Like, oh my goodness. Now, mind you, I had 200 pills left. It was a rental car. Where the light is on the roof.
Okay, yeah.
We pulled that down and put the pills in there.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh my goodness, it's about to go down. Cops. Now the cop is helping us. It's a joke now. it's a joke now because everybody's looking. Yeah. Everybody's laughing. The guy's drunk.
But you know.
But I know there's 200 pills in the car. So I'm like, wow. So he finally wakes up. He wakes up. You know, he's not driving or anything. He's not in trouble. You know, he's drunk, of course. And now there's a couple cops helping. One of the cops put his flashlight into the car, and there was half a blunt in the ashtray. So now it goes from them laughing and helping them out. And mind you, I'm still watching this all go down. They don't even know I'm with them.
Gotcha.
Now they're searching the car. Boom, they bring the dog.
Wow.
Bring the dog because they're looking for drugs. Dog is going crazy. Doesn't find the pills. So they impound the car, arrest the dude that was in the drunk guy, take the car to the precinct. Next day, I got to bail this dude out. They didn't say anything about the pills. We pick up the car. Pills are still in the car. They never found them. And we drive back to Lancaster. Crazy.
What was your heart in your throat?
Yeah, because I'm waiting for, I'm here to bail them out. I bailed them out, so I'm waiting for them to just arrest me.
Yeah.
So I'm nervous, but I got to get this dude out. So he only got charged with half a blunt. And we drive home. As soon as we start driving, I pull the thing down. Pills are still in there. I leave them up there, and we head back to Lancaster.
Was there at any point, because the first thing that came to mind was like, dude, had you not been asleep,
Exactly.
we would have been gone.
Right.
Were
Right.
you like,
I ain't mess with that dude ever again after
yeah.
that. Yeah, he jeopardized my freedom that day. And I didn't want him to get in trouble either.
Yeah.
If they would have found the pills, he would have got charged with them. Now we're talking about a whole different situation now.
Yeah.
You know, those are my drugs. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It didn't go down like that, but
Gotcha.
so yeah.
One of the things that I was thinking about also is how easily you can be blinded by the sense of power.
Right.
But it's understandable.
Right.
I mean,
Power's addicting.
yeah. I mean, even in I don't even know if it's possible, but in a good, healthy scenario where somebody is able to control the situation and move things along, there's this sense, there's an attractiveness to people looking at you a certain way. So I can only imagine when you couple that with money, women, the access to things that the average person doesn't have.
Correct.
You're in prison. Are you okay talking about prison?
Yeah, of course. I talk about it all the time.
9 years. Okay. How was that for you? Did that go fast? Did that go slow?
So the federal system's just a whole different experience. So I got sentenced. I was facing 25 years in jail. I ended up pleading out to 120 months, which is 10 years.
Gotcha.
In the federal system, you do 80% of your time. So I had to do 8 years. I already had, like I said, about a year in. They counted that towards my sentence, so I had to do 7 more years. So I'm, going on 21 now. So my lawyer said, hey, you'll be home before you're 30.
Yeah.
You're still young. Just get through this and you'll have a second opportunity at life. That was so easy for him to say. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, bro,
yeah,
I'm about to spend prime time in jail, like all of my 20s.
Yeah.
So I got sentenced. They put me on transit. So from Harrisburg, you ever seen the movie Con Air?
Yeah, a long time, yeah.
I was on Con Air, bro.
For real?
They put me on a plane. So the way the feds work,
picturing what? Nicolas Cage with the mullet?
Yeah. So picture me without the mullet. So so the way the feds work is when they drop you off at your jail, they pick up all these other inmates and they drop them off all over the country at their jails. So the federal system's the United States.
Yeah.
Like,
fair enough.
I got locked up in PA, but there's no guarantee that they'll put you in a PA jail. They could send you to Minnesota, South Carolina, So the first jail they sent me to was in Oklahoma. So I got on this flight. They woke me up. Hey, where am I going? You'll find out when you get there.
Wow. So you didn't even know where you were going?
Didn't know where I was designated. All I knew was I had to go to a medium security jail. In the feds, you start off high, and it's a point system. As you behave yourself, your points drop.
Okay.
And so from a medium, I went to a low. From a low, I went to a camp. But transit, the way it works, I was in Oklahoma for a year and a half. Like I said, Con Air, shackled with a paper jumpsuit on. It was December, bro. Ooh. It was December. They had us on the where the plane lands, the tarp. They had us standing there
on the runway.
On the runway, bro, with federal marshals surrounding us. We're shackled at our feet, shackled on our hands, with a paper jumpsuit on, with nothing underneath it. It's probably like 20-something degrees out,
bro.
So we're standing there, literally freezing our balls off. They put us on this plane, and the plane pulls up to this jail in Oklahoma, right to the jail. The back of the plane opens up. They walk you out straight into the jail.
Jeez.
So now I'm in Oklahoma, surrounded by like 800 Mexicans. And I had, tattoos.
Yeah.
I was working out for like a year, so I'm kind of diesel. And I had these Mexicans. Oh, what set you claim homes? Mm-hmm. I'm like, I'm from Lancaster. I don't claim nothing. And the way it works there is like there are all these little. Nothing against Mexicans or anything, but they're small in stature.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
You could on one-on-one, you could probably win the fight.
Yeah.
But once you beat him up, you got 200 of his, manitos ready to kill you, literally. And so I was there and just kind of Jail, the way jail, I don't, and like you said, I don't glorify jail or the experience.
Yeah, I get it.
But when different jails that I've been to, I've gotten advice from, guys that were already there, and they said, hey, if you're looking for trouble, you're going to find it. The way you carry yourself, if you walk, in Spanish, it's called a guille. If you walk around with the guille, like, I'm the man, somebody's going to test you.
Yeah.
So I just remained humble, kind of kept to myself, got involved with church, started going to church.
That was early on for you?
Yeah, early on. My whole perspective on religion has changed, but at that time, God was the only thing I had.
Yeah.
So I prayed a lot, read my word a lot, got involved. I was even in the gospel choir in jail, you know what I mean? But became close with those brothers. And I've always been, jail segregated. You got your Spanish guys, white guys, black guys. But for some reason, I don't know if it's a gift for me that I get along with people.
Yeah.
For the last 4 years, my bunkie was a Hell's Angel from Boston. Yeah, Biker Dan, hardcore white guy. But we got to know each other and became cool. And, people used to look at me funny, but I was like, this guy's a thorough dude.
Yeah.
And so I never really fell into that, separation thing. Matter of fact, I was one of the guys that kind of tried to bring everybody together. And, it was a crazy experience. So I was in 9 different jails, 4 different states.
Okay, I was about to ask, so you weren't there the whole time?
No.
From Oklahoma, you went to where?
Atlanta. From Atlanta, I was there for about another year. And then they took me Fort Dix, which is in New Jersey, and then Allenwood, which is in Pennsylvania. I was in a few county jails, Harrisburg, Dauphin County, Lancaster County, York County. And then my last 3.5, 4 years, they took. I was in Schuylkill, which is right outside of Minersville, and that was a federal camp.
Okay.
It's a privilege to get to a camp.
I was about to say, you broke that down.
Right.
So
there was no fence.
Okay.
Like, there was only 2 COs on staff for, I think it was 800 inmates. So basically, the only time you had to be somewhere was either at your job or if you were taking class. Other than that, you roamed around freely. They had a track, you could lift weights, different activities. I worked in the kitchen.
Okay.
When I first got there.
Cooking?
Cooking. Actually, I was a baker.
Okay.
I
okay.
baked
Did they assign stuff for you to do?
So, funny story. So I get there. The way jail works, I'm from Lancaster. If there's other guys from Lancaster there, automatically once you get there, word gets out, hey, there's another guy from Lancaster here.
Okay.
So all the guys from Lancaster come to you.
Right.
Hey, first they check if you're cool, if you're thorough. Check your paperwork, make sure you're right. And then...
Who's checking the paperwork? What do you mean?
So they call it a paperwork party. So
the inmates?
The inmates.
How do they get that information?
So you're not supposed to have it.
Right.
But you have it.
Got you.
Right.
Okay. So they got their ways of getting that info.
Either through mail or, through a visit. Maybe somebody sneaks you your paperwork. But
and when you say they're checking to see if you're thorough, forgive me, but you mean
if you're a snitch.
Okay.
Right. So checked out my paperwork. Everything was good. So now they embrace you and bring you in.
Got you.
And I was already a well-known person in Lancaster, well-respected. So it's like, oh, Johnny's here.
Okay, okay, yeah.
So older cats, younger, but there was a small group of people from Lancaster. Boom. My boy tells me, bro, if you want to do all right here, either get a job in the kitchen or get a job in Unicor. Unicor is an actual factory that they have in the jail where they make furniture, and they pay you 5 cents an hour or something like that. But that's a high-paying job in jail, So I didn't go that route. I went to the kitchen. As soon as I get to the kitchen, now there's bad COs that I've come across that are straight dickheads, and then there's a couple COs, maybe a handful, in the whole time I was locked up, they were pretty thorough, pretty cool guys.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget him. This guy named Myrick, black CO from down south. I go to the kitchen. He's in charge of the kitchen. He comes up to me. He has a southern accent. He's like, "What up, dog?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, Larry, you're a CO, bro.
Yeah. You tested me? Is this a test?
So he's like, "Do you know how to bake?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't know how to bake." So he's like, "Good, because you'll be easy to teach. You're our new baker." I was like, "I never baked in my life." He said, "I'm going to show you everything you need to know about baking." So now I'm the head baker, making, I think it was $120 a month, which was like top dollar in jail. But I've always been a hustler, bro. I don't know what it is about me, but so get comfortable in the kitchen. One day I make, Myrick was like, because I made fresh bread and I made myself a sandwich, a sub. And he was like, looking at the sub, he's like, hey, it looks pretty good. Can you make me one? I was like, yeah, I'll make it. We made him a sub. And he's like, hey, if you ever want to make a couple extra subs, you can make them, take them back to the building, and you can sell them if you want to. And I'm just looking around like,
that's what's up.
Is this guy trying to set me up?
Yeah.
So you give me an inch, I'll take a mile. Before you know it, I'm making 20, 30 subs. NFL Sundays, Mondays, I'm taking orders.
Yeah.
I'm making, they had these big grills. I used to make fried rice. There used to be white rice that we used to make. And the extra white rice, I used to make fried rice with it. Take a trash bag full of white fried rice back to the dorms. And guys used to line up at my cell with bowls. Scoop the rice into the bowl. That would be 2 tunas. Tunas were money, currency. So, and then they also used the tunas for gambling. So a case of tunas, $12, right? Johnny got a locker full of tunas. I'll buy a case off of them for $10. So now they're using that for money. It got to a point where I was selling so much stuff that instead, because, I used to, buy me this on commissary. Give me a pair of sneakers. Give me a pair of sweatpants. It got to a point, I'm there for years. I don't need anything.
Yeah.
So I would run credit with guys. Hey, this is my information. Have your family send this money to my family. $100, $150, whatever. I'll never forget it. I'm at a visit with my mom, and she's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, what do you mean? She says, you haven't asked me for anything in years. No money, nothing. You send me money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, save it. Take half of it for yourself and save the rest and for when I come home. And she did that for 4 years, and I had money saved up when I came home from jail.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
So that hustler mentality that you mentioned,
right,
is a natural thing for you.
It's a natural thing for me.
This ability to be like, there's an opportunity here, but you also got a good lookout from your CO.
Correct.
And you mentioned that there's some dickheads, but there were some that were mad cool. But it seemed like, that's a huge lookout. Like he didn't have to do that. All. So when you see a CO doing that though, is that like when you get past you're cool? Like, do you ever chop it up?
Yeah, life for me is about relationships, bro.
Yeah.
No matter what title you have. And jail taught me this too, especially at the camp, because I was locked up with millionaires, like Fortune 500 company owners, embezzlement. Because once you get to the camp, it's white collar and blue collar, I guess you could say.
Gotcha, yeah.
So, perfect example, Martha Stewart's co-defendant, I was locked up with him. Remember when Martha Stewart got locked up?
Yeah.
So there was a guy named Sam Waxel. So Martha Stewart was inside trading. It was a medication that a medicine that he created. He was a doctor, and gave her inside trading information on the medicine that wasn't out yet. But as soon as it, buy shares in it now because it's about to, whatever. So I was locked up with guys like that. I mean, he used to Bentleys and Rolls Royces pulling up to the jail for visits. Women with mink coats, they used to sneak food in. Hey, it's Sam Wax. Hey, you want a lamb chop? I'm at a visit. Lady open up her mink coat, pull out a lamb chop, like, here, taste that, you know what I mean? And COs, looking the other way because these guys are millionaires, you know what I mean? So,
well, this is interesting, dog.
But them being millionaires, me being drug dealer Johnny in jail,
that's what I mean.
We're on the same level. Matter of fact, I kind of have a one up on them, because in some ways I kind of ran the jail, but yeah, like for instance, I had another friend named Hardeep Chawla, and these are guys that came to my wedding, bro. Like, these are guys that I made friends with that, we became close in jail, and one of the main reasons I will protect them. Like Hardeep, Harry, his real name's Hardeep, but he went by Harry, Indian guy, commercial real estate from Philly, big bucks. You know, we became friends. Somebody tried to put pressure on him. He said, bro, can I move in with you? I'll take the top bunk. You can take the bottom, but I need to live with you so I can be okay.
Safe. Yeah.
Right. So, cool, Harry, I got you. Don't worry about it. He moves in with me. A couple days later, I get a letter from my mom. You know, somebody sent me $1,000. I'm like, who? I don't know. Some people from Philly, they're like Indian or something. Hardeep sends my mom $1,000 just for allowing him to, you know.
That's out of respect for you.
Out of respect. And this guy came to my wedding, bought me 2 extra rings, you know, a white gold band and another white gold band. Hey, if you know you don't want to wear your diamond ring, you can wear this. You know, stuff like that. And to bring it back, life is about relationships, bro.
Yeah.
And my mom used to always tell me, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So I combine the two and get the wisdom on what you know, but I also make it a point to build positive relationships with people.
Yeah.
It'll take you far in life, bro.
I feel like, and I'm not speaking from experience, but from the stories that I've heard, including yours,
right,
and the things that you see and read, that when you're in prison, putting aside why you're there,
right,
it's the stripping down. If you're smart enough, it's the stripping down of your ego.
Exactly.
And
pride.
Embrace. Yeah. And because when we talked in the very beginning and we mentioned the code, like that still is relevant. Even though when you're on the same plateau as these millionaires, there's a code.
Right.
And it's almost like, what can I take from this experience that will benefit me? And it's the honoring of the code, but also sharing and honoring the love for those that respected that code, because I would do the same thing for that person as well.
Right.
So I'm assuming the people that came to your wedding, like you mentioned, it's that relationship. Like, I don't give a shit while we're here, while we were there.
Right.
But we had that bond.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, you're basically living with these people for years, and you work out together, you know, work together, and just become friends, or even a brotherhood. But you do have to watch out for snakes. You do have to watch out because some people don't never change, bro.
Yeah.
And there's some shiesty, devious people in jail. And one thing jail taught me is to observe people.
What was one of the things that you learned? Directly happening to you, or you just saw?
I mean, these are the best con men in the world. I mean, these guys are top-notch criminals. So he could be cool as heck, but, and I tell this to the kids, I tell this to anybody, a person can tell you exactly what you want to hear, but their actions will tell you exactly who they are. So watch a person's actions. I could gaslight you, tell you what you want to hear, observe you, see what you like, and kind of fit that into our conversation so that you feel comfortable with me. But eventually my actions will tell you what my plan is, or what my purpose is with this relationship.
Yeah.
So jail taught me that, how to observe people. One
of the things I wanted to bring up was when you mentioned the millionaires, the Fortune 500s, and I want to get into this,
right?
But you know, the way you have cultivated and flipped your life once you got out of prison,
right?
Were you getting any nuggets of information from these cats?
I would pick their brains. I had another guy. Oh man, I can't remember his name. Neil Stein. He owned Rock Lobster, restaurant in Philly. He was how you call that? Not a restaurant owner, but like what is that called when a restaurant person like owns like famous restaurants?
I don't know.
But he's a famous restaurant owner in Philly.
Gotcha.
You know, $1 million restaurants. So he's Jewish. Well,
okay.
I made friends with a couple Jewish guys.
Yeah.
So so one day I asked him. I said, why do Jewish people prosper so much? Why do they, have so much money? He said, one, Jewish people created interest.
Wow.
We started the first banks, and we came up with the concept of, I'll loan you this money, but you have to pay me this amount back. So that's how they started. And then jewelry. Jews have the jewelry business on smash. And then on top of that, he said, we own all the media companies.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't care who says they own CBS or who owns Fox.
Yeah.
At the top of the food chain is us, and it's
Gotcha.
always been us. So I was like, sheesh, y'all control everything pretty
Yeah.
much, and we stick together. We stick together, and we do not, that whole crabs in the barrel mentality, we don't believe in that. We lift each other up, and we do not believe in separation, or like, we stick together and we get money. And I was just like, interesting.
That's an interesting concept because I've heard that before,
Mm-hmm.
and I've also heard it. Usually, I hear it on podcasts where it's the conversation is like, why can't black and brown people? Why can't we
Elevate.
do that?
Right.
Because we're seeing it done around us, where it's
Right.
like, yo, we can do that. When I think of hip hop, that's usually where I hear it the most. It's
Right.
like it's the biggest culture of music that everybody wants to
Right.
be a part of,
Right.
but yet those that created it
Mm-hmm.
aren't prospering from it as much. So I liken that to what you're mentioning now. He's just pretty much he's saying that on.
Jews, Asians. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been here. Puerto Ricans have been here forever.
Yeah.
Why don't we own every corner store in the hood? Or why don't we own, I don't know. It
just mind boggles me, bro.
we hate on each other, bro.
Yeah.
We hate on each other. They might be clapping up for you, but in the back of their mind, they're just like, I can't believe he did that. Or,
Yeah. Or how did
why
he do that?
Why can't I do it? He did it. Or, it's just bad juju, bad
Yeah,
energy.
yeah.
I don't know why we can't join forces and support each other and lift each other up and be prosperous together.
Especially when you can see how it can
It works.
Like when I'm seeing what you're doing, it's like he's doing it.
Right.
And so let's get into that then. The coming out of prison, were you immediately aware of this is what I'm doing? Or did that take some time? Because what you're doing now, where you were, it's two different worlds.
Bro, my first job was Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Got you.
I was in a halfway house in Harrisburg, got a job at Kentucky Fried Chicken. Couldn't get my license for 6 months. So just did almost 8.5, almost 9 years. And I'm walking an hour and a half, almost 2 hours to work, walking back to the halfway house every day.
An hour and a half.
An hour and a half walking. But guess what? I was free and I was happy to walk.
So your perspective on life is different.
Super humble.
Yeah.
Super thankful for being free. And I'll never forget, and I tell this story often. I remember walking home to the halfway house and just thinking like, man, I don't have anything. I came home with boxers and socks. You know what I mean? Like all that money that I was making was gone.
And that wasn't on your mind? You were just like embracing the new for you?
Embracing the new, but at the same time worried about my future, worried about finances, but also knowing that going back to that lifestyle wasn't an option.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not going back to jail.
Your mind was made up on that.
I'm not going back. I'm not going to do anything to jeopardize my freedom. So I had to grind it out, walking. So one day I'm walking to the halfway house, and I'll never forget it. Having a conversation with God, crying, man, I don't have shit. Like, what am I going to do now? And right before I stepped into the halfway house, bro, right hand up to God, I looked down on the ground, and there was $100 bill on the ground. I picked it up, looked up, and said, all right, I'll stop worrying, And you weren't allowed to have cash on you.
Okay.
So I go in there, and I'm like, I don't want to get in trouble because of this money. So I tell them, hey, I think somebody dropped this money out front, and I found it. So they're looking at me like, this dude's crazy. He found $100 and he's trying to
give it back.
And I'm like, yeah, because there's cameras all over the front of the halfway house. So
sure, yeah.
I'm already thinking ahead. They're gonna see me pick it up. They're gonna ask me about it. I'm gonna lie and say I don't have it. Then I'm gonna get in trouble. So they said, look, we checked the cameras. We can't see who dropped the money. We're gonna put it in your box or whatever. We had like a storage box where when you left the halfway house, you could take whatever you needed.
Okay.
We're going to put it in your box. When you leave on your pass, you could take the $100. So I said, cool. But in hindsight, that was, I don't know what people believe in, God, higher power, the source.
Yeah.
That was energy or vibrations or something telling me, hey, it's gonna be all right. I got you.
Yeah.
Just stay on the right path. Stay focused, and you're gonna be all right. It's gonna take a while. It's gonna be a process, but as long as you stay focused, keep those blinders on. Don't go back to that same lifestyle. It's gonna work out for you. Now, I didn't have no idea how it was gonna work out or what my destiny was, but I knew that I had to stay focused, and I made it out of the halfway house. Still working at KFC. I actually transferred from KFC in Harrisburg to KFC in Lancaster.
Okay.
My second job was McDonald's. Grown man. So I go from making thousands of dollars a week to getting a check for like $450 every 2 weeks. I'm like, sheesh, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
So McDonald's working. Now, mind you, I still going to church. I was going to In the Light Ministries, got involved with the youth ministry at In the Light. At the time, there was only a couple kids, and I found that I had a knack of communicating with younger people and kind of telling them my experience and using a mixture of scared tactics, and choices, and you don't want to go through what I went through, and little by little, the youth group at church started growing. So then I found the niche or the joy out of speaking. Now, my mom was always telling me, you're going to be a pastor, you're going to preach at a church. And I would entertain that. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be a pastor. But I definitely like speaking in front of people.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know Jose Jimenez, Pastor Jose.
No.
He actually is not part of Teen Haven anymore, but he was the head person at Teen Haven.
Okay.
So a job opened up at Teen Haven for boys program director. Now, mind you, I just got out of jail. I'm a felon.
Yeah.
Ex-drug dealer, fresh out of jail. So I was like, But my mom was like, hey, apply. See if the worst thing they could do is say no.
Yeah.
So I applied. They interviewed me, and they gave me the job, bro.
Wow.
Boys program director for Teen Haven. So now I'm running a summer camp. Every Tuesday we're playing basketball. We're having Bible studies. I'm bringing different people in to speak to the kids. And I did that for 2 years. And then I got a taste of how nonprofits work.
Okay.
And in 2010, I started my own nonprofit called J Arts, Juvenile Adult Rehabilitation and Transitional Services. My goal was to help guys coming out of jail and to mentor young people. So we did that for a while. I had a whole team behind me. It's growing, but it kind of started leaning towards the kids a lot more, and we kind of strayed away from the guys coming from jail, not by choice, but just legalities. And
Gotcha.
a lot of these guys would come home and they didn't want to change.
Yeah.
So I was like, man,
this ain't working.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, let me focus on the kids and nip this in the bud before
Fair enough.
they get to that point where they're locked up or before they're into the streets. And it was very successful. And eventually I was running programs in Lancaster, York, and Harrisburg. At one point, I had over 1,000 kids, bro, in my mentoring program.
How long was it till you got to that point?
So I came home in 2008. By 2011, we had
so in 3 years.
3 years.
Wow.
Yep. So once again, relationships. I came across an extraordinary man named Clyde Rivers. So Clyde Rivers, Dr. Clyde Rivers, Sir Clyde Rivers, King Clyde Rivers. This guy is like,
where are we going?
Right. So this guy, he's an honorary king in Africa. He's a knight, honorary knight from London. So I had a friend named Sean Walker who I was running mentoring programs in Harrisburg with. He says, look, this guy named Clyde wants me to be on a show in Chicago. Will you drive up with me? I said, cool, let's go. We'll take turns driving. We'll get there. So we get to the show in Chicago, and there's all these people from all walks of life, all over the country, ambassadors, just high-ranking people.
Yeah.
So I'm just there as a driver. So I see this big dude. I mean, he's probably like 6'5", just immense guy, but his aura was bigger than him physically. Like you could tell, like people were just hovering around him, you know, waiting. You could tell waiting for the opportunity to talk to him. And he sees me and he's like, come here. Social media. I go up to him. He shakes my hand and he says, I've been following you for a while on Facebook. You're next.
Wow.
And he shakes my hand. And at that time, I didn't know what he meant by you're next. But this guy owns or runs ICN, I Change Nations. And it's the biggest honoring society in the world. So basically what he does is he goes around the world and he honors people for the things that they do, for the work that they do. Now, these are, like I said, kings, you know, knights, people that just awesome people from all over the world. And he said, you're next. So he said, just keep on the right track, keep building what you're doing, and I'll be in contact with you. I said, all right, cool. So a couple months go by, and he reaches out, and he says, look, I want to give you this award. It's called the Golden Ambassador Award. I want to give it to you in Washington, D.C. Come to D.C. We're going to honor you with this award. Wow, okay. So I get to D.C. They give me the award. That's when I built the relationship with Clyde, Dr. Clyde. We become super close. So I keep on working, keep on building these mentoring programs. A couple years go by, get a couple more awards. And he says, he reaches out again. He says, the highest award that we have is an honorary doctorate. I want to present it to you.
Okay.
This is 2015. So I'm like, what do you mean doctorate? Like,
yeah.
He says, well, you know, Muhammad Gandhi, you know, Dr. Martin Luther King, this is the same doctorate that they have or had or, you know, have.
Sure.
So it kind of blew my mind because I didn't really grasp what he was doing for me. Once again, come to D.C., you know, we were in Congress. Like, bro, we got there and there's guys in black suits, glasses. We went into a place where civilians can't be. You know, I'm looking at paintings on the walls of, you know, all these famous people and he presented me with the honorary doctorate in 2015, and that's when I took the name on Dr. Vega.
Okay, I always wondered. So
Yep.
that's a pretty dope way to get that honorary. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
somebody gifted that to you because of what they saw in
Exactly.
you, but also saw what you were doing.
Exactly.
And that isn't like something you sneeze at.
No, not at all. It changed my whole life.
Yeah.
My whole life changed after that because, you know, he said, and this is advice from him, he said, look, I'm going to give you the credentials. It's up to you what you do with them. You know, after that, I co-authored 2 books. So now I'm Dr. Vega, you know, a published author. He said, you need these things if you want to do this motivational speaking. If you want to make moves in this area, you're going to need these credentials, and I'm going to give them to you. But it's like I said, it's up to you what you do with them. And I took the baton off. I took the baton and sprinted with it.
Yeah.
So now I'm Dr. Vega, and then I come across another amazing man named Ron James. Ron James did 25 years in jail, ex-crack addict, like out in the streets for days, not bathing, eating out of dumpsters. He went to jail, and the last time he got locked up, changed his life, came home and wrote a book named Choices by Ron James. They even did a movie about him. So shout out to Ron, shout out to TJ Griffin.
Okay.
Who was also
okay.
TJ played Ron.
I remember that
in the movie.
Okay, yeah.
So 2 very close friends of mine, and Ron is a motivational speaker, nationally known. And I meet him one day, and he tells me, "Look, I'm going to all these schools all over the country, but I can't keep telling my story if they invite me back. Would you be willing to come and tell your story?" So at first, I was horrible, bro. I used to sweat like a Hebrew slave, like dripping, like embarrassed. They would like come up to me with like a wash rag or a napkin, like, here, like wipe your face, because I was so nervous and sweating.
Got you.
But he took me under his wing, taught me the ins and outs of speaking, how to do certain things like a pregnant pause and like work in the room, and just took me under his wing. And I've known Ron now for almost 8 years, and we've traveled all over the country, speaking at different schools, juvenile facilities, and he's part of the inner circle.
Yeah.
So he gave me the opportunity. Clyde gave me the opportunity, and now here I am.
So it's like you said, it's all about building relationships.
Correct.
But this, from what I'm gathering, is this stemmed off of everything after prison.
Correct.
This wasn't anything you had any intention of doing prior.
Well, I had an epiphany in jail that I wanted to make sure the youth didn't make the same mistakes that I made. I didn't know how I was going to do that.
Gotcha.
Or the whole approach or speaking. Like I said, I wanted to start up. I did start a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So that was my.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But after a while, the whole, grants and, funding and the government, and I just had after a while, I got a bad taste in my mouth with the whole nonprofit side of things.
Yeah.
So I stopped that and just focused on the speaking and the writing, and any opportunity I got to speak, I took it. And for a lot of times it was for free, or for very little money. But it grew, and people liked what I was saying, and went from speaking to actually implementing mentoring programs in those schools. So the follow up was real big for me too. I just didn't want to get them hype, and then they never see me again.
Okay.
So setting
Makes
up like
sense.
we have mentoring programs in Jersey now, New York. Here in Lancaster, so still going strong.
Yeah, it's so cool, man. Like I'm just taking a step back, like listening to everything you just talked about so far. Like, do you ever? And I'm sure you do, but do you ever like reflect and like look at yourself again? Statistically, you're not supposed to be doing what you're doing.
I beat the odds, bro.
Yeah.
I beat the odds. Recidivity rate is crazy. People going back and forth to jail. And one of the things that to this day I think about was me talking to my mom, me telling her my plans before I came home, and her telling me, I hope this isn't jail talk. Because in jail, guys will tell you exactly what you want to hear, just so you.
She was concerned that you were hype off of people feeding you stuff in jail.
Right.
And you were about to walk into something that was not going to be prosperous.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yep. And so just jail talk, like just, not standing on your word, say what you mean what you say. If you're going to do that, do it. But don't come home and end up fucking up again.
Yeah.
After all these years of, saying you're gonna do good, saying you
which
change.
is a legit thing for a mother to worry about.
It is.
For her
it is
son.
super legit. And that's another thing. I when I got locked, I have an awesome family, bro. Mom, sister, just cousins, aunts, uncles, and we're very close knit. And I let them down. I let them down. I broke my mom's heart. She said, couldn't eat or sleep or always worried about me. And I didn't want to put her through that again, ever, And that was my goal. When I came home, I said, I'm never hurting my mom again like that, ever.
Real quick, and I want to get into what you're doing now.
Right.
I want to transition that to end this conversation. But,
Okay.
Can you share with the feeling that your last day in prison, knowing this is it,
Right.
that coming home,
Right.
that the culture shock I'm sure that you were experiencing, you missed out on 9 years of social life.
Correct.
Can you share that?
So I hate to say it, but after a while, especially in the camp, I got kind of comfortable there.
Yeah.
I'm
I know what you mean.
I'm
Okay, I
eating
got you.
good. I'm exercising every day. I adapted to the situation.
It's a structure that you were used to.
And I got used to it, and my last, I had a lot of friends in jail, and my last day, I'll never forget it. So it wasn't cells in the camp, it was cubicles. So it's all open. Like literally, if you're laying on the top bunk, you could look to the left of you and see all these guys laying on the top bunk.
Gotcha.
Look to the right of you, see all these guys, so it's all open. So I'll never forget it. It was count time, and I walk into the to our side of the jail, and I hear all this screaming and good luck, bro. Why these guys snuck into the music room, took out the congas, you know. And I work in the kitchen, so they made me a cake. They had a meal for me.
Baked the baker
They
cake.
baked me a cake, bro. And we had a party that last night. And,
You
you
ever
know,
think about that?
I do.
Yeah.
And especially right now, because when I left, there was probably about 200 guys standing in front of the building waving by them.
Wow.
And I cried like a baby. And my mom was like, why are you crying? And I was like, because I have to leave them behind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
They still have to do their
It's the
time.
survivor guilt.
Right. So, but at the same time, I see you when I see you. Write me, I'll write you back. But I was out, and I never forget it. We went to the mall, and I felt like I was having an anxiety attack. One, because I hadn't been around that many women in like 8-9 years, and I'm just like, whew. And then the changes were crazy. Like that was right before iPhones came out. So I had my mom got me a BlackBerry.
Okay.
Literally right before iPhones came out. But even that phone like blew my mind. I got a computer in my hand.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Went to the supermarket, saw the self-checkout lines. Like, there's no more cashiers. Yeah. Like, this is bugged out. Like, and when I checked into the halfway house, they checked my blood pressure, and they were like, do you need blood pressure medicine? Because your blood pressure is like through the roof right now. And I was like, no, I just need to relax. Like,
I was at the mall.
I just came from the mall. I ate Chinese food. Like, yeah. So it was a hard transition for me at first because you become institutionalized.
Sure.
Like, for a while, I couldn't sit like with anybody behind me. You know, I would be at restaurants and I got to sit here because I don't want anybody behind me. And just observing everything, like being very particular and observant of people, not trusting anybody. Yeah, it was not a hard transition, but it was a different transition for me. And but I you know, after time and, you know, getting used to the world again, I transitioned well. But at first it was
because you read stories that doesn't happen very easily.
Super weird, bro. Super weird when I first came home. You know, and just relationships and, you know, people got a lot older since, you know, people that were 10 were like 20 now.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
So it's like, oh, you were a baby when I saw you. Now you're an adult. Like, this is blowing my mind. But I adapted well. It took me a while, probably a year or two before I really got into the groove of things.
Okay.
But yeah, just kind of took it one day at a time at first, and then started meeting good people and making plans and, you know, writing things down, goals and aspirations, and, you know, learning about affirmations and, you know, speaking life into myself, and just really focusing on myself for that first couple years. And then I started taking what people poured into me and pouring into others.
Gotcha.
Yep. And I was thinking about this on the way up here. Our biggest commodity, our biggest asset in life is love.
Absolutely.
Is love, bro.
Absolutely, bro.
And I, you know, like I told you, my whole perspective on religion has changed over the years. Yeah. You know, if you're Muslim or if you're Jewish, who am I to say your path to enlightenment is wrong?
Right.
Right. So, you know, I believe in a higher power. I believe in energy. I believe in vibration.
Word.
You know, like I told you before, you could tell me whatever you want. Your actions will tell me who you are. Yeah. So I'm going to just watch and wait until I see what I want to see.
Yeah, dig it, man.
So, love, bro. And like I said, I'm not religious, but they say God is love.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So the answer is love, bro.
Yeah.
You love on me, I love on you.
Yeah.
You know, we help each other out when we can, but we understand that we have our own separate lives. We have our own separate families. But if it's in my power to help you any way I can, I will.
And the dope thing about it, though, is when you said that we have our own lives and differences here and there, when you let, I have a little slogan with my family. I tell my kids and my wife, and I said, I believe in law. It's love always wins.
Right.
Okay. And I write it every now and then, LAW. And it's the only way for me, because I'm not super religious either.
Right.
And I grew up Catholic. You know, we went to San Juan, and everybody in my family knew my family in the church and all that. And
Right.
I'm like, I'm at the point in my life where just like exactly what you just said, bro. I have an episode in the beginning of the podcast called Energy.
Right.
I talk just about that, about
Wow.
listening to your energy. And that I believe that when people genuinely want the best for you,
Right.
And they're not looking for anything out of their interaction with you,
Right.
and that energy, that frequency, it resonates.
It
and
does.
It makes you move a certain way.
Right.
And if you can get hip to it, we can go places. Now that's God, that's the universe. That,
Right.
I don't know.
Karma, whatever you want to call it.
Right. I know it's something.
You're right.
And so I honor it.
But
So
it's
I
universal
appreciate that.
law.
Yeah, man.
And even on a deeper level, low vibrating beings are evil.
Ooh.
Are evil, up to no good, devious, deceitful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, makes
even,
sense.
Even
Yeah,
on a
you're right.
spiritual level, bad spirits are low vibrating entities. So take it on the other side of things.
Yeah.
You have to operate on a high vibration
Yeah.
at all times, or at least try.
Yeah.
And there's things that'll try to knock your vibration down, but you have to recognize that and not let it affect you. We have total control over our emotions, the way we think, the way we feel. I just turned 45 last week, and
Happy birthday, bro.
thank you. And I've come to realize that anything outside of this doesn't really matter.
Yeah. You have no control.
You have no control over it.
Yeah.
So what do you have control over? Your emotions, the way you treat your body, your spirit, and your soul. Those things you take care of, and this is something I've been thinking about. You said you wanted to talk to me about that jog.
Yeah.
So
The 45-pound plate.
yes,
You're running, pushing and pulling.
pushing and pulling. So it's a 45-pound metal plate.
Yeah.
Picture this. It's a rug like this. So you get on all fours and you literally push it across the room. But the dragging, that's the easy part.
Yeah, it's pulling it.
Not even pulling it, bro. Big shout out to Chegg, Jose Vega. He's my trainer.
Okay.
You put your feet on the plate, but your feet are facing the opposite direction. So when you're pushing it backwards.
Oh.
So you're pushing it this way, and the plate's behind you.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
So I got about 3/4 of the way done. I can't do it anymore. So I literally collapse on the floor, roll over, and Jose was laughing at me because I don't know why I did it, but I threw a couple like air punches while I'm on and I didn't think anybody was looking. I didn't think anybody was looking at me, but he just starts cracking up. But as I'm laying there and my body's on the verge of exhaustion, I'm running on E, I start laughing. And it was out of the blue. It was just, a natural, organic, I can't believe I'm doing this to myself, and started laughing. But then I had the epiphany that, wow, like it really is mind over matter. Like even though I'm hurting, even though I'm exhausted, even though my body literally gave out,
Yeah.
I could still laugh. I could still laugh. And that's life. We're going to get to points in our life where we feel like giving up.
Yeah.
Physically, mentally, spiritually. Like there's points in my life where I wanted to check out. Like, man, this is too tough. And I can see why people end their lives because they get to that point where I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I can't live anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to give up. But if you can dig deep, and there's a saying, whatever makes you laugh makes you cry. But if you take the laughter route, if you take the ownership of joy, ownership of yourself, alignment, that's what I was thinking about today. If you align everything spiritually, physically, mentally, like it all coincides. And if you align it right, you're good.
Yeah.
And that energy you give off to your kids.
Yeah.
That energy you give off to your wife.
Mm-hmm.
They see that. They see daddy going through this, going through that, struggling with this, struggling with that, but still laughing.
Yeah.
Still enjoying life. Hey, we'll be all right. We'll get through this. I got a saying, quitting's not an option.
Yeah.
No matter what you're going through in life, it's a season. It's temporary.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? So let's get through this season, work on the next season, make the next season better.
Yeah.
Take that loss, turn it into a lesson. Take that mess, turn it into a message.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The glass ain't half empty, it's half full.
Right.
You know, especially our kids, bro.
Yeah. Oh, dog. I wrap up my podcast by saying maintain focus and stay continuous through all 4 seasons. And
right.
So I've always told myself that. That's something I just conjured up like 15 years ago,
right.
and it was like the cycle of there is no end.
Mm-hmm.
The journey is consistent.
The journey's consistent.
And also, like what I appreciate what you said, and this ties into what you mentioned also earlier in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive me, I had a brain fart.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember exactly what it was you said, but I know it ties in where my children are going to see me. Oh, actions speak louder than words. So
exactly.
So I can tell my kids, I expect this, that, and the third of you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm getting hip to, there are things that I do that contradict that.
Oh, yeah.
That I didn't realize that they're paying attention.
Right.
But they don't realize they're paying attention.
Right.
It's just that their actions are echoing mine.
Exactly.
So it's like I have to really get hip to that frequency of like, how do I speak with my actions? Well, really, it's letting my vulnerability, expose myself to my kids and go, I screwed up.
Right. Right.
I ain't the best.
Right.
But that was on me.
Right.
Let me show you what I mean and try. And it's like when you start allowing that growth,
right,
everything just feels better.
It does.
Even the failing and the hard times when you take that L.
Right.
And I'm sure that you've experienced that in this journey of yours.
It's a roller coaster ride, bro. It's a roller coaster. But showing your children that you can still prevail.
Yes.
Because they're going to see the losses. They're going to see the frustration. They're going to even see the bad choices that you make, but the bounce back.
Yeah.
Oh, Dad still pulled it off.
Yeah.
Dad still, ended up providing for us, even though things were hard at one point. He still fought through it. Never gave up. And we're never going to give up on our kids. So they see, like, no matter what I go through, Dad showed me how to adapt and react to any situation. And it's just a blessing. I promised myself my daughter will never go through anything I went through. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know it.
So I make it a point, even though she might be a little spoiled, but at the same time, no man that she ever comes across, I set the bar super high.
Oh, absolutely.
I set the bar super high. I only have one.
You have to, though.
You have to.
Especially with the daughter.
What?
I have 3 daughters.
Bro.
And you don't realize the impact that as a male in a daughter's life, like the impact that the father has until you're sort of like in it. And you're like, yeah, I need you. You better be picky as fuck when you get older. Bro. Because I need that from you.
Yes.
You're worthy.
You're worthy. Don't settle for anything less. Nah. And I tell my daughter, I'm one of the best that ever did it. Like, yeah.
Salute to that, bro.
Yeah, as far as like women and, telling them what they want to hear and giving them gifts. And I don't want some dude buying my daughter some sneakers or, let's smoke a blunt together
Yeah, I hear you, though.
I can see it coming. And How
old is your daughter for you?
13.
Okay, so you're already, you're
bro, different hair color every month. She went, and I keep it 100. She went through the stage where she said she liked girls.
Yeah.
And I tell her, I love you no matter what.
That's what's up, bro.
Like, no matter what. And I'm not saying it was a phase, but she chopped all her hair off.
Yeah.
Dad called me Cam.
Got you.
I'm like, who? Killer Cam? She's like, who's Killer Cam? I'm like, forget
Long
it.
story.
Yeah, the long
Okay.
story. But it was not a phase, but it was a season for her. And I still have to support her through that season, even if I agree with it or not.
Yeah.
You know, she has to choose her own path. She has to express herself the way she wants to. And I don't want to put her in a box or, you know. And she immediately let her hair grow back, went from wearing boys' clothes to back to girls' clothes. Now it's like, Dad, there's no such thing as gender anymore. This is a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about fluidity.
Yeah.
I'm like, fluidity, whatever. Let's go get some ice cream. How about that? All right, cool. So, yeah. So the stage I'm at now, I talked about alignment, you know, spiritually, physically, something that I neglected. And I always refer to the story where Jesus walked into the temple, and it was the only time in the Bible that Jesus lost his temper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was because they were disrespecting his father's house, the temple. So I took that and I said, our body's a temple. So if we're disrespecting it, if we're treating our body like a garbage can instead of a temple, a sacred temple, where the spirit lives, where God lives, then we're doing ourselves a big dishonor. And that's why we suffer from diabetes. That's why we suffer. These are the backlashes of not treating our bodies the way we should treat it. And it's not our fault. You know, slave masters gave us leftovers, and we called it soul food. You know, chitlins and pork intestines, and this stuff is horrible for us. But as a people, we could turn lemons into lemonade.
Yeah.
And we took the scraps and made it tasteful and good for us, but it's horrible for our health.
Yeah.
And we've gone through years, even Spanish people. I go to my abuela's house.
Pernil.
Pernil, but the portions.
Oh, yeah, 1,000%.
I'm like thinking in my head, it's like 3,000 calories right here that she's trying to feed me, and then gets mad if you don't eat it all.
You can't talk about calories
No.
to abuela.
But it's just, we've been brainwashed and made to think that, and then, you know, we can go into the whole government thing and big pharma and all that. But
yeah.
about 4 years ago, I got really sick. I got pneumonia. I was in the hospital for about a week, lost 27 pounds. My organs were shutting down. I developed blood clots. And a good brother named Brother Hanif, a Muslim dude, comes to me and visits me in the hospital, and he has a jar. And he says, take 2 tablespoons of this a day, and it'll help you recover. It was sea moss. I'm on my deathbed, basically. And doctors said I would never run again. My lungs would never be the same. That's how bad the pneumonia was. This is 6 months prior to COVID.
Oh, my God.
Right. My mom thinks I caught COVID, but, you know, before COVID hit. But it was pneumonia. So this guy, the doctor, I was taking blood thinners, and the doctor said the only way I could stop taking the blood thinners is if I walk up and down the hallways. I didn't have enough energy to walk up steps, let alone.
Gotcha.
So he gives me the sea moss. I start taking it. About a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I start feeling better. I start walking. I don't have to take the blood thinners anymore. About another couple weeks go by. Start feeling even more better. All right, I got my energy back. About a month and a half later, I start jogging again. So I'm taking the sea moss. It's like, wow, this stuff is really working. Give it to my mom. She has thyroid problems. A couple months later, she doesn't have to take her thyroid medicine anymore.
Wow.
My dad, high blood pressure, suffers from things that come from high blood pressure. Start giving it to him. He doesn't have to take blood pressure medicine anymore. They're having sex again because of the blood pressure gave him, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow. So mind you, we're still going to church. They start telling people at church about it. Hey, Johnny got this stuff that'll help you lose weight, give you energy, keep you from getting sick. So I'm giving it away for free.
Okay.
I bought a pound of sea moss, made a whole bunch of jars. Here, see how it works for you. People are asking for more.
There's yeah.
So I'm like, wow, I'm helping people get healthy. I'm creating revenue for myself. Let's turn this into a business. So it was a side hustle for about 3 years.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
'Cause this just started.
Right. So
brick and
about
mortar.
exactly a year ago, I started the LLC, Land and Sea Natural Supplements. Find the brick and mortar about a month ago. Now I have a Lancaster's first all natural supplement store. And,
Yeah.
and now not only the sea moss, but I have like 20 other different natural supplements from all over the world that all are medicinal, teas, honeys, the sea moss. I have moringa, turmeric, elderberry, and it's crazy, bro, how God positions you if you just listen
Yeah.
to direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he'll
Yeah.
tell you and lead you in the right direction, but ultimately we're not robots. God gave us the power of choice. So it's up to us to go right or left. He'll point you in the right direction, but you got to follow his lead or the lead. And yeah, it's been crazy. It's been very successful. People are coming back. I had one person that had incurable cancer, certain amount of time to live, and bro, no more cancer. Like
No
it
way.
blows my mind. Like everything that I've gone through in my life has brought me to this point. And to be in a position to heal people is like better than the doctorate, better than the awards, like for somebody that has no hope. Hey, take this, drink it, eat it, it'll help with this, help with that. And then it works. And they come back. Doctors are telling me that I have no hope. And now I'm cured.
Yeah.
It's like almost like the woman with the issue of blood. Like,
Yeah.
she had no hope. And all she had to do was touch his garment. You know what I mean? Not comparing myself to God or Jesus.
No, but I dig it.
But
Yeah.
God has put me in this position where, bro, like losing weight, getting in shape, that's just the icing on the cake. People are getting healed from their underlying health issues. And I'm just grateful, bro. Thankful that God has put me at this point in my life. A sinful guy, still make bad choices, still make mistakes every day. But I realize what my destiny is. I realize what my gifts are. I tell people, realize what your gifts are and you'll find your destiny. Yeah, people waste years, their whole lives, seeking stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Not realizing, hey, I'm good at this.
Yeah.
I'm really good at this. It comes naturally to me, but I've been ignoring it.
Yep.
And it's time. It's time for people to realize their greatness, their potential. Each one of us have the power to change the world. Even if it's just one person, you change their world. You know what I mean? You change their path. And if I can do it for one person, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's like when you mention God showing you the way,
Right.
Or I've always compared it to he's gonna, if you're asking for something, it's being given to you. You're just not hip to the way it's being given because you're looking for it a certain way.
Right.
You're looking for that message the way you want to receive this message. Sometimes you may have to go and work at a different job to get to this other job that you want to be at.
Right.
But you got to be willing to take the scenic route here.
Yeah.
And the older I get, the more I'm like, I got to be patient and I got to be willing to be vulnerable enough to be like, I'm gonna let you lead. I gotta be happy with where I'm at and trust the process.
Right.
I was hip to CMOS. When you started promoting it, and I remember watching videos on TikTok. Which the irony is, like, there's so much garbage on TikTok, but then there's also so much helpful information.
Very helpful.
You just got to really pick and navigate.
Right.
And somehow the I don't know the gentleman's name, but he's the black brother with the white hair and the beard that you've got on your wall.
Dr. Sebi.
Okay, Dr. Sebi.
Yes.
I watched a video of his years ago.
Right.
Breaking down CMOS, the benefits of CMOS, and I remember being really intrigued by it because it was like making sense. And it was another fellow that was also breaking down the importance of adding this to your diet.
Right.
So now that you are where you are in your life now, and you have this opportunity to share this information,
Right.
Do you see? The reason why I'm bringing this up is because people will always say this is too good to be true.
Right.
Are you expecting any pushback? Because the government, if you want to go that route,
Right.
is going to be like, you can't just be, you know what I mean?
Right.
You can't be gatekeeping this. This is too good to be true here.
Right.
Are you prepared for something like that?
There's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be people that are skeptic. But the proof is in the pudding, bro. Like, it's been 4.5 years since I got that first jar, and I have hundreds of people that could testify that this stuff works. And CMOS is just one thing that I found at first. But it says also, like I said, I'm not religious, but in the Word of God, it says it in the Quran and it says it in the Bible, that all things for healing come from the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The higher power, God, whatever you want to call it, has put in nature everything we need to stay healthy. We just got to know what to take, what it does. And people like Dr. Sebi traveled all over the world looking for herbs, roots, sea moss, you know, and there's things all over. And that's why people if you notice, people from the Caribbean don't suffer from obesity, don't get sick often.
Yeah.
The guy that I get the sea moss from, he's from St. Lucia. His name's Muhammad. This guy, once again, has a big white beard. He's in his 60s and is cut like a bag of dope.
Nice.
Six-pack, all muscle.
That's what I want to be at that age.
And he eats sea
I'm
moss.
not there now, but
and it's what you eat, bro. The food is our medicine.
Yeah.
It can either be our medicine or poison. Like,
and it's also changing. I'm guessing is the conditioned mind and how we are so used to just eating and consuming.
Right.
It's like how do we change the conditioning of the mind to be like, listen,
it's tough.
It's right here.
Right.
Because I'm a victim of it, dog.
We
like
all are.
I know intellectually I'm there.
Right.
But then it's just like being disciplined enough to live
do
out
it.
that. Yeah.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people. You got to implement it in your lifestyle. Like, it just has to be something that you got to be conscious about what you put in your body and do the research. Like, for instance, I have all natural toothpaste, and people are like, why do you have all natural toothpaste? Because fluoride gives you brain fog. Fluoride is the reason why people are getting when you lose your memory, dementia, and it's a proven fact. And we've been brushing our teeth since we were 4 years old, flooding our bodies with fluoride, and they're telling us that fluoride protects your teeth, fluoride makes your teeth stronger. It's a lie, bro. It's a lie. Fluoride is horrible for you. So just little things like that. We're not supposed to eat meat. We're not carnivores. Our teeth aren't even sharp.
Yeah.
Yep. And then people are like, we should eat meat. It's good protein. You know, it keeps us strong. I tell them, one of the most strongest animals in the jungle. Let's take elephants, for instance. Huge, massive, muscle. All they eat is plants. Gorillas, all muscle, strong as heck. Yeah. All they eat is plants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So it's like nature will tell you and they were like, wow, why did we eat meat when we were, cavemen or, because we had to survive.
Sure, yeah.
We didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
now we have
be picky at that time.
Now we have, bro, they're making meat now in labs. You know what I mean? And it's legal for them to sell it. Dairy causes mucus in your body. So the more cheese you eat, the more milk. They say milk is good for your bones, vitamin D. Lie. We're not supposed to drink milk. We're the only beings on this planet that drink milk from another animal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fish, the chicken, they're pumping them with, you take an egg, it goes from an egg to a full-grown chicken in months. We're feeding these birds with steroids and we're consuming it. That's why our kids are so developed now. You know, you have these boys and little girls that don't look like little girls or little boys anymore. Remember when we were young, girls looked like girls.
Yeah.
Now it's like, it's because of what they're eating, you know, and that's another, and I can get super deep with this stuff. This is why people lived 400 years, 500 years.
You talk about lived?
Back in the day, you know, Moses, you know, all these people lived hundreds of years. Why? Because of the food they ate. The water was pure. You know, the food that they ate was no preservatives, no nothing, all natural. That's why they lived hundreds of years. And now, you know, we're lucky to make 70. Yeah. We're lucky to make 80. These 200 years, 300 years they lived. That's because it's because of the food they ate. Yeah.
That's
and there's things out there, you know, black seed oil, amazing. You know, moringa, amazing. Turmeric, great for your skin. I have people with eczema.
Yeah, okay.
That have been using this turmeric soap that I have, coming back. Hey, my skin's getting better. You know what I mean? There's this stuff called Tangat Ali. It's a herb that I have. It's a male testosterone booster, all natural. Once you hit 40, your testosterone levels start dropping. This is an all natural way to, and bro, not for nothing, but guys are coming back like,
they try to re-up on that.
I feel great. You know, sex life is back. You know, blood pressure is dropping. And they don't have to take this poison, these pills. The side effects are worse than what you're going through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's a reason. And I don't like to talk about this too much because I don't want to get killed. But
that's why I brought up the government, because I'm like, bro,
I don't want to be a martyr.
Because this isn't new.
It's not new,
but it's also, it seems like it's shit that's kind of like always kind of like, no, we can't let them know about this.
Do your research on Dr. Sebi.
Yeah.
Dr. Sebi was charged by the federal government because he wasn't a medical doctor.
Okay.
And this is one of the reasons why anytime I post something or talk about the supplements, I don't say doctor. You know what I mean? Because I don't have a medical doctorate. Okay. You know, and it's an honorary doctorate. And I could probably get in trouble the way he got in trouble. So they said, because he had newspaper ads, billboards, Dr. Sebi can cure you, and he was curing people. And the government stepped in and said, look, you have to stop telling people you're a doctor. You're not a doctor, and you have to stop telling people you can cure them because you're not really curing them. He didn't stop. They charged him. Federal court. They said, bring in people that supposedly you cured or you're going to jail. Bro, he brought like 70 people in, AIDS, cancer, and he beat him.
Whoa.
Federal government has, and I know from experience, the federal government has a 98.5 conviction rate. So if they charge you, most likely you're going down.
Yeah.
He beat in trial the federal government. And a couple months later, they locked him up in a third world country and starved him to death.
Wow, I did not know that.
And the rumor is, and I don't know how true this is, but he was going to come out with a pill and give it out for free that cured everything. Like take this AIDS, cancer, and
that's the thing too. Is like this goes back to the conditioning of the mind, where like we know that this shit is set up. It's rigged. It's a rigged game.
It's a rigged game.
Yeah, but we just can't.
We can't accept it.
We can't group together like we talked about earlier.
Right.
So I think what you're doing is pretty dope, man.
Thank you.
Obviously, I want you to be safe too. So we're gonna have
I mean, if it happens, it happens. But
protect this man at all costs.
Thank you. I appreciate that because it's dangerous. I mean, nowadays, so many people are on this health kick and natural supplements and taking care of yourself. Back then, there was only a few people doing it, so they were easier to pinpoint. But now, I mean, if you look up sea moss on Instagram, you'll get 100, maybe 1,000 different sea moss. I mean, sea moss was on Shark Tank. Somebody got $600 grand for their sea moss company on Shark Tank. So it's almost like mainstream now. And then why would they do something to me when there's 1,000 other people doing the same thing? You know what I mean? So I'm not really worried about that. More concerned with people realizing the truth about health, about spirituality, about self-awareness. You know, as I'm getting older, I realize that whatever I want to speak into existence, I could speak it into existence.
There you go.
You know what I mean? You have to have faith in a higher power, but you also have to have ultimate faith in yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, ultimately, it says faith without works is nothing.
Yep.
So you can have all the faith in the world, but if you're not putting the work behind it,
Yeah, it's got to be follow through.
good luck with it.
Yeah.
Because, nobody's ever going to give you anything. I mean, it's a blessing when people help you out and look out for you and, give you opportunities, but ultimately, you're in charge of creating your own opportunities, creating your own destiny, and just being happy.
Yeah, I'm glad you wrapped that up there, because I was getting ready to jump in and say, it's I'm 44,
Right.
and I've been doing this now for a couple years. This is
Right.
the only thing for me personally in my life that I feel like that I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
But everything I've ever tried before always seemed daunting, difficult. And I honestly believe it's because when you do what you're passionate about, you no longer have a sense of like, when is this going to happen?
Right.
You're just in the moment.
You're
You're doing it, and then the blessings come. And the blessings come in different ways,
They
man.
do.
Like, I've just been blessed to meet people to be like, you got to talk to this person. Oh, we got to get you hip to this person. So it's like the networking game for me was like, it kind of took off on its own accord.
Organic.
Yeah. So, and I throw you in there as well. Like, this is a super dope conversation.
Right.
And I'm grateful that,
Thank you.
I'm grateful you hit me up, man.
Yeah.
Because I don't get that often.
Right.
And,
Well, like I said, a lot of the guests that you have were either friends of mine or people that have had an impact on my life, or just super dope people.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, I'm connected with all these people in a way somehow. And even Terry and Mac, like, I've worked with them before. Did you have Dom on? Dominic Miller?
Nah.
Okay. Super dope. You should
Look
reach out
him
to
up.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dominic, he's a spoken word artist. Vita Cologne. I could give you.
I had Sir Dominique Jordan.
Yeah, same person.
Okay.
Well, his last name's Miller too.
I did not know that.
Asia
Okay.
Miller's his mom. So Sir Dominique. Yeah.
Forgive me. I've just.
Yeah. Matter of fact, he big shout out to Dom.
Yeah, absolutely. He wants to get back on. We got to do it in person with him.
Yeah, I got him a job where I was working at when he was going through some rough times, and kind of like introduced him to. I can remember like it was yesterday. We're in the studio, and I'm like, bro, go ahead. I know you got some lyrics, like, and he's shy, and didn't want to do it, and now he's
look at him now, though, bro.
And that's another thing I want to tell you: planting seeds.
Yeah.
Somebody told me once, and this used to frustrate me because you work with somebody, you speak life into them, you help them out, you mentor them, and they don't get it right away.
Yeah.
But it's not our job to fertilize or help that seed grow. It's just our job to plant it. So I planted a seed in them, in Dom, and now look, like, it's amazing to me. Like, even though I don't want to take credit for what he's doing now or boast, but I had a hand in that.
Yeah.
Even if it's a small seed.
Yeah.
But the smallest seed is a mustard seed.
Yeah.
You know what? That's why they say that. As long as you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you're good. We all have the same amount of faith the size of a mustard seed. It's the smallest seed, but it produces the biggest flower.
Okay.
Yeah. So always remember that. Don't get frustrated if you plant a seed in somebody and you don't see the outcome right away or the harvest.
Yeah.
It's coming. It might not be in your time. It might not be in their time. It's in God's time.
Right.
So that's another thing I take joy in and take satisfaction in when I come across somebody that I mentored at 10 years old and now they're 21, 22. Hey, Mr. Vega, I just want to thank you.
Yeah. Full circle for him.
Because it didn't make sense when you told me.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm a man, or now that I'm a woman, now that I have my own family, I understand. And it makes sense. And that to me is more gratifying than anything in this world, really.
Well, God bless you, bro.
Thank you.
I think what you're doing is phenomenal.
Thank you.
I think given the the life that you had and where you ended up, you could have easily just given up, but
Right.
you didn't.
Right.
One of the things I wanted to do this season to change things up, and I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Usually I wrap up by saying, in 5 to 10 years, where do you see yourself? But what I want to do is I want to incorporate, I want to ask you a question.
Okay. Go ahead. Shoot.
In the line of work that you're doing right now, in social media, you see a lot of health gurus. You see a lot of TikTok and Instagram influencers
Right.
pushing a lifestyle change. Eat this, drink this, exercise, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Considering what you're doing now as an entrepreneur, and now you're opening up the CMOS spot here on Hazel Street in Lancaster.
Yep.
Do you ever look at that and go, I need to follow the same? Are you following a template on social media to push your message? Are you going about things differently? Do you find that people are looking at you going, oh, you just trying to sell me something?
Right. No, everything's organic for me, bro.
Okay.
However the spirit,
Wow.
Yeah, however the spirit moves me. I know content is everything. That's
Sure.
what I keep that in mind. Content is everything. I do have not a huge following, but I do have people that are paying attention.
Word.
And I want to continuously feed their attention, but with good things. Like I said, back to the seeds. Like, I just want to keep planting seeds.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, happens. Whatever I throw out there, hopefully somebody grasps it. And like I said before, if it's one person, fine. If it's 100 people, even better. But if I can, and I just do this to affect people in a positive way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. And whatever comes along with that is cool with me. If I make money, great. If I don't make money, great. But if that one person makes it through their day because of something I put it out there, I'm cool, bro.
Word.
Yeah. And like, I totally believe in karma and energy. Whatever I put out is what I'm going to get back. That's how I see it. So if I constantly put out positive messages, if I constantly be transparent with people, because I try to do that a lot. Like, I'm going through it too. I'm going through too. I've made bad choices. I've made mistakes.
Yep.
You can still be all right.
Yeah.
You can still be great. The past is the past. Like, let it go.
I love it. Transparency is key.
It is. I just try to be myself, bro.
Yeah, man.
I just try to be myself. There's people that don't like it. There's people, it's funny, there's people that 4 years ago were telling me, you need to stop posting so much stuff on Facebook. You need to stop going live. You need to, and now guess what? 4 years later, guess who's going live now? Guess who's putting out their little messages now? And I'm like, hey, but if it's a positive thing, if it's a good thing, I'm all for it. Maybe they caught it a little late, but hey, better late than never. You know what I mean? And it's a tool for me. Social media can be either a negative thing or a positive thing, and extreme on both ends. Like, there's kids out there, cutting themselves and suffering from depression. Some of these TikTok challenge. I mean, there was a TikTok challenge not too long ago where kids were developing a tic from, watching videos. It's deep, bro. So I choose to, and I have a sweater that I made that says above the algorithm.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you posting that.
Yeah, I travel above the algorithm, bro. I understand what it's for.
Gotcha.
I understand how it works, and I use it for motivation and positivity. So every tool can be used either way. Either for good or bad, and I choose to, as much as I can, because I'm not perfect, like I said, but as much as I can, if I could put good energy out there, I'm gonna do it.
Word. Well, I'm a fan.
Thank you.
I'm a supporter. I'm gonna come check you out. I gotta check you out. Your spot,
come get
bro.
some of that CMOS,
yeah,
bro.
man. Because
I'll
like
get
I
you
said,
right.
Yeah. Hey, you got me hyped on it now, man. I heard all the good rapport about the guys coming back with the
get some of that honey, boy. That honey is the truth. That honey is the truth.
Nah, but I appreciate you. This right here is obviously Journeyman Chronicles Season 3. I'm joined by none other than Johnny Vega. My man, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, bro. It's an honor and a privilege, and I wish you nothing but good things. And, you know, I could see this podcast taking off way more than what it is right now. Just keep the same blueprint, because you're on your way, bro.
Thank you, man.
You're on your way. Thank you, bro.
That's it.
Peace.
All right.